The Nifty is opening 245 points higher.
We have Nifty sitting with gains of 370 points.
At least you can stick your neck out and say that the market rally will not be sold into.
Metals as well as IT, both global facing in nature, they bounce back in style today. But the banking names, that's the big weight in there. That gained, and that's what gave the Nifty some kind of basis. Good trading session. Hello and welcome to CNBC TV 18. You're watching Markets Today, the show where we track around 6 hours of the day's trading action in just 5 headlines. I'm Nigel D'Souza. Let's get straight to the top headlines for the day. Positive global cues lift the Wall Street. The Sensex gains 1,300 points. The Nifty gains 400 points. All sectoral indices end in the green, with financials leading the rebound. HDFC Bank reports heady loan growth, as does HDFC IndusInd Bank, couples growth with market share gains. And Mahindra & Mahindra Financial sees growth with asset quality improvement. Even smaller lenders surprise positively. Metal stocks ride the sharp rally in commodity prices. The index surges 3%. Healthy output growth from Vedanta and Hindustan Zinc adds to the optimism. Positive business updates coming in from Adani Ports, Avenue Supermarts, Angel One, and NCC power the stocks up, while Marico is a rare loser. The rupee gains more than 30 paise against the dollar, but stays above that 81 mark. The greenback weakens against most currencies after a strong run in the last couple of weeks. Well, here's the lineup that we have on the show for you. It's a power-packed show as always. In Market Opinion, we have Tahir Badshah, CIO Equities at Invesco Mutual Fund, and Ed Yardeni, President at Yardeni Research. In Corporate Voices, we have Mr. KK Mistry, Vice Chairman and CEO HDFC, Hemant Sikka of Mahindra & Mahindra, and Bharat Madan, Group CFO of Escorts Kubota. Well, positive global cues helped the bulls regain some lost ground. The Sensex gained 1,300 points. The Nifty gained close to around 400 points. The Nifty is back over that 17,300 odd mark, closer to that level actually. The mid-caps, well, they fared even better with the index rallying close to around 3%. Financials as well were not far behind. Well, Rima joins us to run us through the day's trading action. Rima?
Market surge led by a big global risk-on rally. The Sensex gaining more than 1,200 points. The Nifty well above 17,250. All the Nifty key indices closed in the green. The mid-cap index also soared, with the advanced decline ratio looking solid, with nearly 5 stocks in the green for 1 in the red. The leadership came in from the banking stocks, and here we got some very strong business updates from banks as well as NBFCs. So those numbers looked encouraging, and that fueled the rally in the banking sector. The Nifty Bank was up more than about 1,000 odd points. But IT and metals as well contributed on the way up. So talking about individual stocks, IndusInd Bank and M&M Financials business updates look very strong. Those stocks were higher in trade. In the metals pack, you had Hindalco, JSW Steel, Tata Steel rallying, as there was this big rally that we saw in global markets, not just in US markets overnight, but there was follow through in Asia as well as Europe. And IT stocks ahead of the earnings season saw strength led by Wipro, TCS as well as Infosys. Tomorrow, Indian markets are shut. Today, there was no trade taking place in China as well as Hong Kong. So there was a bit of a truncated week taking place across Asia, but this turned out to be a solid session for our markets.
Thanks a lot for that, Rima. Well, Market Opinion, Tahir Badshah, CIO Equities at Invesco Mutual Fund, said that despite the rate hikes, inflation hasn't seen much decline in developed markets, which is slightly concerning. He also gave his view on financials. Take a look.
There's been a fair bit of interest rate hikes that we've seen in the system, but concomitantly we've not really seen as much of inflation decline come along with it, especially as far as the developed markets are concerned. So to my mind, I think while there is a growing clamor from different parts to kind of slow down in terms of rate hikes, etc., and give the economy a little bit of chance, we've seen deposit growth trail credit growth for a fair bit now, and that is something which probably is something to be watched out, at least as far as the profitability of the banks is concerned. So I think barring that, I think we are reasonably fine as far as the financial sector is concerned. Even though I kind of worry at the margin that our rate cycle might probably incrementally is looking like being a little higher than what we started off believing 6 months or maybe at the start of the year. So that risk apart, I think more or less the banking sector looks fine to me.
Well, in more opinion, we had Ed Yardeni, president at Yardeni Research. He says that September creates buying opportunities and the worst is over on the downside. He added that the next pivot by the US Fed is expected to be less hawkish. Let's hear him out.
I think it's a relief rally. I'm not particularly bearish. I think the market's going to go sideways with a lot of volatility. We're still going to have the Federal Reserve raising the Fed funds rate at their November meeting. That'll be early November. So in about a month, we're probably going to get another 75 basis point increase in the Fed funds rate. But a lot can happen in 1 month, as we just saw in September. And it does feel as though September was the worst month. It was a bad month historically. And October sometimes does better, especially if September created some buying opportunities. So I think the worst is over in terms of the downside, but I don't see a tremendous amount of upside anytime soon. I think we need to get to a point where the Fed clearly is done tightening. When the Fed changes its opinion, that's a pivot, but it sometimes can be based on data that they didn't expect to go the way it went. What we saw is in July, the Fed was still talking about possibly pausing in September or November. And in August, they were suddenly talking about just raising interest rates as far as necessary to bring inflation down. So that was a pretty hawkish pivot. And I think the next pivot that the markets are expecting is a more dovish pivot, or let's call it a less hawkish pivot based on an economy that's slowing down with inflation continuing to moderate.
Well, to the second headline now, Mahindra & Mahindra Financial, IndusInd Bank and HDFC rallied between 2 to more than 10% on the back of their Q2 business updates. Mahindra & Mahindra Financial, they saw growth as well as asset quality improvement, and that explains why the stock was off to the races. Abhishek Kothari standing by to fill us in with a quick analysis on all those names. Abhishek?
Well, to begin with, IndusInd Bank has given the business update wherein they have gained market share in the loan book. So sequentially, that is quarter on quarter, deposit growth is perhaps the best in 5 quarters and loan growth is the best in last 4 quarters. So deposit growth is of 14.7% YOY and about 4.2% sequentially, while the loan growth is at 17.6% YOY and about 4.7% sequentially. For the first time, M&M Finance has given a number on their asset quality in the business update. So the gross NPA over there has improved to 7% when compared to 8% in the previous quarter. Disbursements remain strong. For the month of September, it was close to 4,100 crore, which is up about more than 9% on a month-on-month basis. The collection efficiency has improved 98% for the month of September when compared to 96% in August and 96% in June. HDFC Limited, the loans assigned is up 28% YOY but down about 4% sequentially. The dividend income was strong, up about 16% YOY and 98% quarter on quarter, while the individual loans sold is up 27% YOY and about 6.2% sequentially. On HDFC Bank, the loan growth has surprised positively, perhaps the best loan growth in 14 quarters on a YOY basis. So deposits are up 19% YOY and about 4.3% sequentially. The loan growth is at 23.5% YOY and more than 6% quarter on quarter. X of the pool that they have with HDFC Limited, the loan growth remains strong at 23.4% YOY and about 6.2% sequentially. The CD ratio has also improved, which indicates that the net interest margin may remain healthy. Back to you.
Thanks a lot for that, Abhishek. Well, meanwhile, KK Mistry of HDFC said that the RBI rate hikes may continue for some time and that it's a difficult situation for the Reserve Bank of India. Let's hear him out.
The problem is that when Fed increases rates, then it puts some degree of pressure on the rupee, on the currency. And if the rupee depreciates, then it starts putting indirectly pressure on inflation because oil prices, the cost of imports becomes higher because you're paying in rupees for what you're importing. So it's a difficult situation for RBI to handle.
Well, moving to another financial services company, Fino Payments, Rishi Gupta of the company told CNBC TV18 that it expects to cross the 1 crore mark as far as customers are concerned, and its merchant network will double in the next 3 years. Let's hear him out.
I expect to cross 1 crore customers in the next 24 months. and our network should double to more than 2 million merchants in the next 3 years. On the CMS side also, where we have clients, there we have seen nearly a growth of about 40% on H1 to H1, from 111 customers to 153 customers per se. So this has been a good H1. I would say we are quite happy with the growth which we are seeing.
Which brings us to the third headline now. Metal stocks, well, they found their shine with the index surging close to 3% as they ride the sharp rally that we saw in commodity prices. Healthy output from Vedanta as well as Hindustan Zinc, well, it added to the optimism as well. Manisha Gupta, she's standing by to run us through all of those details. Manisha?
Well, yes, it has been a strong day for the metal prices, where we have seen the weakness in US dollar also being a supportive factor here. So whether it's copper, aluminum, zinc, nickel, all of that was trading in the positive side. Support also came in from the fact that the soft economic data that we have seen come in from China, Europe or UK would perhaps mean that you wouldn't see aggressive rate hikes going forward. Apart from that, the Chinese demand also seems to be picking up. The China stimulus expectations have been adding premium to prices also. The Chinese copper spot premium, by the way, is the highest since November 2021. So that tells you that the on-ground demand is actually robust. Apart from that, Europe also has been cutting production. And when you look at aluminum alone, 8 to 9 lakh tons of aluminum production cut is what we have seen happen in the past 1 year. That can be supportive for those prices. Apart from that, the major bullish news also comes in from the fact that LME, or the London Metal Exchange, is now considering a consultation on whether or not the Russian metals should be traded or stored on LME bonded warehouses or the exchange itself. If that really happens, then you could be looking at some supply destruction or even supply deficit coming into the markets that could be supportive for prices. Markets do believe that it is going to be about the US non-farm payroll data on Friday as well. That would tell you on what direction the metal prices do take.
Thanks a lot for that, Manisha. Well, let's run you through a couple of details that came in from Vedanta and Hindustan Zinc. The operational performance looked pretty okay. Production numbers were a little bit higher, in the aluminium business, which is bulk of their business. But their Jharsuguda facility, well, that in fact delivered a good number. So that was encouraging. Moving to their India Zinc business, which is effectively the Hindustan Zinc business. Out there, the integrated saleable metal, that's lead as well as zinc, put it together, that came in high by close to around 18%. Even the saleable silver production, well, that jumped up by close to around 28%. So both those two factors did play out in their favor. On their power side of the business, well, there was a good bounce back. We have been hearing that power demand has been strong. And in fact, their TSPL venture, which is bulk of their power sales, that's close to around 80%. That jumped up by close to around 50%. For the unit on the whole, it was up by close to around 24%. International Zinc, smaller component of their business, but the Gamesberg mine, that's ramping up nicely. And that explains why, the total volumes are up by close to around 35%. The oil and gas business, well, that's a bit of a sore point, and that continues to struggle. There was a bit of a degrowth on that front. And other smaller verticals like, like steel as well, iron ore, there were no negative surprises on that front. Well, for the time being, though, we'll slip into a short break, but you stay with us. We'll be back in a jiffy with the other headlines.